Welcome to Scene World, talking all things hoops and high level basketball dialogue. Russell Westbrook signs to the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's get right into it. I'll talk about how it fits, how I think it fits with Russell Westbrook in terms of how it'll fit into the offense. I think it'll be good for the most part, man. I think the Clippers needed a guy who can get other guys easy looks. They kind of had that with like Paul George and Kawhi, but they're not necessarily pass first guy, high level elite playmakers like that. Russell Westbrook is. If there's anything you'll say about Russ and what he still has and what he still can do, he's still going to get you guys easy looks. He's still going to spoon feed guys, get shooters open. Russ is still going to do that at a high level. Another thing he'll do at a high level, he's going to speed the game up for the Clippers, which I think the Clippers needed. The Clippers had a very slow-paced offense, a very offense can get very stagnant at times because they didn't speed it up, and that's part of why their offense. They're one of the more lower scoring teams in the league. I know a lot of that has to do with Paul George and Kawhi being in and out of the lineup and having inconsistencies in their lineup, but another part of it was that they're having a slow offense, and Russell Westbrook coming in instantly speeds that up. He's going to get the rebounds, get out in transition, and the Clippers going to have guys that are going to run with him like Terrence Mann and Norman Powell and guys like that. So those are ways that Russell Westbrook is going to instantly impact the offense. The Clippers like to run a lot of drive and kick offense, having guys attack closeouts or being catch and shoot situations. Russell Westbrook's obviously going to be great in that at penetrating the defense, getting down low with his driving and kicking out to guys like Norman Powell, Eric Gordon, so they can attack those closeouts, making the game a little easier for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Just being another guy out there that could play make and handle the rock, and that's something the Clippers have really just kept on adding and adding is more guys who can handle the rock and take pressure off of the main guys. But something I like about this one is everybody else they got that has that they could play off of Russ. They could play off of Kawhi. They could play off of PG. We know Russ can't necessarily do that, but Russ is bringing a whole new aspect in terms of he's getting these guys easier looks. He's being a real point guard. A concern that I have, obviously, Russell Westbrook is, he's not going to be great at playing off of Russ and Kawhi. I mean, not Russ and Kawhi, PG and Kawhi with his lack of shooting and, his lack of off-ball movement, really. I mean, he'll cut here and there, but, Russ isn't giving you much off the ball. So my question is, do you have him start next to those guys and just be the main point guard, main ball handler, but then you take away from what Kawhi and PG like to do on the ball? I know a lot of Russ fans are trying to just make it simpler. Like a lot of Russ fans want Russ to come in and just be the guy. Obviously not the guy, but like they want to be the main ball handler, be the main facilitator, have the ball in his hands damn near all the time. But you have to know the Clippers like to have Paul George and Kawhi running those pick and rolls and having the ball in their hands, creating offense. And that's not something I see just going away just because Russell Westbrook is there. And I think if you have Russell Westbrook in the starting lineup, it could be like a Lakers situation where it's hard for him to get in rhythm because he's playing off of Kawhi and Paul George, and Russell Westbrook is a on-ball player. And I think if you have Russ come off the bench, just like the Lakers did, and you saw it worked a lot this year, especially you talk about late in the games where Russ was playing a lot better, is because coming off the bench, he got the ball in his hands and he's running the offense. It helps him get in rhythm. It helps him get some shots up and knock some shots down. It helps him like just get in a better rhythm, get in a better flow of the game because that's who Russ is. He needs to get in rhythm by having the ball in his hands and running that offense. And also, I just think his role will be a lot bigger playing off the bench. I think he'll fit in right. He'll fit right in playing with Norman Powell, Eric Gordon, Mason Plumlee, and whoever they decide to run at that for, Nick Batum or somebody like that. Because if you look at how they play with Bones, Bones is a guy who's penetrating the defense and kicking out. I think you put Russ in that situation, and I love Bones Highland, but Bones is also a liability on defense. Russ gives you, a little bit more on that defensive side. He's not necessarily a liability. Russ is going to come in, and I can see him taking that Bones role and just upping it up a notch because Russell Westbrook at this point is just a better player than Bones Highland. So, I like the fit for the Clippers. I like the fit for Russ. Another concern I have, and this is more so for just Russ, not necessarily the Clippers, because the Clippers, man, they don't need Russ to go out there and hoop. And that's another reason why I like the move for the Clippers is because they don't need Russ to do anything, really. If Russ is out there stinking it up, just sit his ass down. That's something the Lakers didn't have that luxury. They didn't have the luxury of having a deep-ass roster like the Clippers do. They kind of needed Russ to stay out there and hoop. So when he was playing bad, they just kind of had to die with it. With the Clippers, it's like, listen, Russ, you playing bad. Bones Highland, come on, we got some minutes for you. Eric Gordon, go ahead and get out there, take his spot. Norman Powell's gonna get minutes regardless. But like if Russ sticking it up, Norman Powell, go ahead and get out there. Like the Clippers have way more options, and this is a risk for Russ because come playoff time, I think regular season everything's fine. It'll work itself out. Russell Westbrook gonna do his thing. In the playoffs, though, when you got certain matchups where teams are just gonna game plan to ignore Russ when he's off the ball, playing off of Kawhi and PG, it can get tough because if Ty Lue decides like, hey, Russ, and Ty Lue's a guy who'll do that, man. Ty Lue, he'll get Russ in position to play his game, but also in situations where Russ might be a detriment to the team, Ty Lue's not going to hesitate to be like, Russ, you're not the guy for this series. You're not going to play this series. And, I could potentially see a situation where Russ is just, if he's so bad in the playoffs, he's just out the rotation completely. And, if that happens with Russ, it's like, come the offseason when it's time to get a contract done, and teams are going to look at that. Teams look at the last thing they saw. And if the last thing they saw was Russ losing minutes in the playoffs, and be like, why would we want Russ on our team if we're trying to be a playoff team, right? Because I doubt a tanking team is going to want Russ. It's going to be a team that's trying to make the playoffs. And if Russ isn't even playing in the playoffs, why are teams going to look at Russ and be like, hey, like, yeah, we want that guy, the guy who doesn't even get minutes in the playoffs. And I know it'll be a different situation because whoever does end up getting Russ in the offseason will probably be like the Wizards or the Bulls, the teams that were interested in him. They'll probably give him a larger role on their teams. But still, I think that thought would still remain in a lot of teams' head. And this could be like, if it goes bad, man, it could be like a Carmelo situation where teams just shun Russ and don't give him another opportunity out there. And, that's a scary part for Russ. But at the same time, if Russ is a big impact on the Clippers and the Clippers end up winning or come close to winning, there's a lot of teams that might look at Russ a little differently. They'd be like, listen, Russ is a high impact player, a high impact on winning. We want that over here. We want to bring that over here. We'll give you this multi-year deal because we know what you can still bring. So it's kind of a high risk, high reward. And obviously the prospect of competing for a championship, Russell Westbrook is going to be competing for a championship next to Paul George and Kawhi. So, man, overall, I really like the move for the Clippers. Really, really like the move for Russ, and I'm rooting for Russ, man. If you're a guy out there who's sitting there praying on Russ' downfall, hating on Russ, man, take a look at yourself, bro. Stop being corny. Show Russ some love, man. Hope all goes well for him. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Clippers and Russell Westbrook. First video out, man. Seam World. Yeah, this is kind of like the. As time goes on, I'll probably try to do a little more with the editing and try to get a little more professional. I'm saving up to get a camera and all that, try to get my face out there and everything just to get a little more intimate. But, in terms of the type of videos I want to do, this is more like it. No script, I'm not writing anything down. I'm just going off the top of my thoughts. That's what I'm pretty much doing, dog. Just like most of the shit I'm doing is I'm seeing it on the TV or I'm seeing it on my phone, and I just come out here and I'll talk about it. I give my thoughts. I'm very opinionated, so a lot of times I'll watch a game, and if I have an opinion on here, I'll just get on here and talk about that. So yeah, those are the style of videos that you can continue to see from me. If you like the vid, man, leave a like on the vid, comment your thoughts on it, and subscribe. You gotta subscribe. The next video I plan on doing is a Western Conference hierarchy in terms of like where do I see teams ranking and fitting in terms of who's a contender and who's not. I'll do the same thing for the Eastern Conference, and hopefully I can get those videos out before the games on Thursday because I want to talk about those games on Thursday, obviously. But if not, those videos aren't going anywhere. But yeah, man, hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. Please let me know your thoughts on this signing. And yeah, man, if you watch all the way through, I appreciate it. Peace.